The question is how we learn that second language and why people are very in learning in acquiring second language. What are the factors? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Mutia Cahyarani. I'm a postgraduate student of Syahwala University, Banda Aceh. In this video, we're gonna talk a little bit about second language acquisition, especially how first language can influence our second language acquisition. Let's see the definition of first language and second language. So first language is the language that we learn since we were born, or it is also called a mother tongue or native language, while second language is other language that we learn after our first language. So this is something that we call a language transfer, or the replication of rules from first language to second language. It means that our knowledge in first language will interfere our second language acquisition. This language transfer could be positive and negative transfer. Let's see one by one. The positive transfer is when the first language and second language get many similarities in terms of phonology, morphology, and syntax, which can help second language learner easier to learn the target language. While negative transfer could be happen when the first language and second language are totally different. Wan Zemming, in his article about the review of the influence of first language in second language acquisition, has divided the level of second language transfer into 4 levels. The first one is sound transfer. The most enduring and prominent factor of in first language transfer is sound transfer. In the second language acquisition, it is widely found that second language learners' pronunciation is deeply influenced by their first language and deviate the pronunciation of the native speakers. So, the function of first language transfer plays a very important role in second language acquisition of sounds. Let's see the example about this sound transfer. For example, we as an Indonesian people maybe will have a different pronunciation with Indian people when talk English. It could be a different dialect also. The second one is words transfer. Some linguists found that if there are many similarities of words between first language and second language, so the learners will easier to learn the target language. This is why French students feel easier than Chinese students when both of them are studying English. For example, in Chinese, they don't have words pronounced like R or pronounce R, but in French there are so many words that pronounce with R, and then when French students come across to those words, they feel no difficulties to remembering the words. It's quite different to the Chinese. When they are speak some words, maybe it sounds different. The third one is syntax transfer. The syntax transfer contains a syntax structure such as words order, negative sentences, interrogatives, and relative clause, and so on. So this is more about the rules of the languages, the linguistic of the language. Different language have a different syntax, it has a different linguistic style. So that's why when the first language has the same let's say has the same formula to the second language, so it might be make our second language acquisition easier than when our first language have a different style of word orders of the sentences, of the structure, of the grammar. The last one is culture transfer. So when we learn a second language, it's not only learning about the languages, but also the culture can be transferred to us. Yeah, culture transfer is a kind of influence made by the difference between first language and second language. Second language learners tend to express themselves in their own habit from their own culture. Besides the language transfer, there is also individual learner differences that may influence the second language acquisition. And this is why individuals are vary in learning a second language. There are 5 general factors affecting individual learners' differences. The first one is age. Young learner and adult learner has a different performance in learning second language, and there are many research that has been conducted that shows that the young learner is a fast learner. Yeah, so when we want to learn a new language in the young age, it is more easier than we are in the adult age. And then also the factors called aptitude, and it refers to the special ability involved in language learning, and it is a major factor determining the level of success of the classroom language learning, and it is one of the strongest predictor of success in language learning. And then the third one is motivations and need. Yeah. Learners who have high motivation and needs in learning target language will be successful than the learners who have low motivation and needs in learning the target language. So if you want to speak to learn to speak other language, so make sure that you have a good motivation to learn about it. The last one is personality and intelligence. Personality make an important role also to the second language learning, and such as language anxiety. People tend to have a language anxiety when they are compare themselves to another learner, or when are being asked to communicate spontaneously in second language, or they also fear of negative evaluation. So this could be make a negative effect to second language, and we have to avoid this language anxiety. So we have done talking about the second language acquisition, and this is I hope this information is useful for you and keep spirit of learning language. Thank you for watching. See you in next video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.